my friends, it's Deb from Bowl Me Over. Welcome to my kitchen. I don't know about you, but this weather has me hungry for soup. And I thought I'd make some soup. And actually, this is with leftovers today. I'm gonna put the recipe for it below, but it's kind of a basic idea if you have some leftovers, what to do with them. So today, at Christmas time, we had a wonderful pot roast. And with the pot roast came the leftovers. There was so much food at Christmas. So what I did is I packaged them up and put them out, took them out of the freezer. And this was my plan for YouTube today, but also what that didn't go with my plan for YouTube was the fact that we'd have an ice storm. So this is how you do when you do leftovers. You know, you might not have everything on the list, but you still have dinner to make, or you still want to make some soup. And this is a great recipe that goes with that. So what we're doing today is beef noodle soup. And for that, I have some leftover roast beef. I also have some bones. And what I did, you can peek back there on the stove, I took those bones and I boiled them for about 3 hours. And so they made a nice beef broth. I'm gonna use that today. Along with our roast beef, I have carrots and celery. I have an onion and some garlic. No beef noodle soup, in my opinion, is complete without peas. We're gonna put some frozen peas in at the end and some egg noodles. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna move some things out of the way here real quick. And what we're gonna start with are our vegetables. So we're just gonna chop up some celery and some onion, or celery and carrots. I'm gonna start with those. And I've already cleaned these. I'm just gonna give them a nice little dice. All we want, anytime that you're doing like a soup, you wanna make sure that your vegetables and everything that's in your soup is easily gonna fit on your spoon. So I just wanna cut these into small little chunks, small little dice. So that's perfect. And our celery is done. Next up are the carrots. Peel or don't peel, that's totally up to you. I'm gonna give these a quick peel. And just to make it look a little prettier when it's done. So you can kind of use pretty much whatever you have in your pantry and in your refrigerator. I love a good refrigerator soup. It's like you just use up everything you have on hand, and that works. That totally works. You know what? I'm gonna put all this right there. That'll be perfect. Okay. And now we're gonna give this a quick dice. And in the meantime, I have my soup pot heating up over there. And I can tell it's just about ready to go. So that means our timing is perfect. If you didn't have soup bones, of course you could use just stock. I'm kind of, as I mentioned, landlocked. It wasn't like I was gonna go to the store. So I used the bones to make some stock, and that works just fine. You can put it in a pot with plenty of water. You can also throw in a carrot, some garlic and onions, and just let it boil down. You might have to refill the pot a couple of times with water as the water evaporates. And this is going really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my olive oil. And my pot is really warm. So let me lift that for a quick sec. That's a nice thing about the electric stovetops. You move the pot, it shuts off. So I grab my, and hopefully I don't set off the smoke alarm, right? That was a little warm. So let's turn that down to medium. There we go. And get something in there cooking, and that'll make that happier. It would be nothing new for me setting off the smoke alarm. It's kind of what happens sometimes, so it is what it is. Okay, now let's give our onion a quick dice. And this is a pretty big onion. I'm only going to use half of an onion. And I just want to dice that up quickly. And I think what I was saying there is you could use, of course, you know, like if you have time and whatever, make bone broth. But there's nothing wrong with just using stock broth as well. You know, water in a pinch. But this is such a simple soup that you will benefit by using a broth with it. I've even used, you know, chicken broth when you're in a big hurry or whatever. You know, it's all about kind of using what you have on hand. All right, okay. And there's our onions. I'm gonna get them in the pot. And clean up my board here real quick. And I'm just glad to say I didn't set the smoke alarm off, right? It's going to be a great day. Hang on. Okay. So I'm going to give these a little stir. And now that I have all of my vegetables in there, I increase the heat to high. Medium high, excuse me. And I'm just going to warm it up just a tad and get the vegetables for a good saute. And next thing we need to do is chop up our leftover roast beef. And that's what we have here. I'm just going to start by slicing it. This was a wonderful, wonderful roast. And you know, like, so if you're tired of sandwiches or you want to stretch a buck, soup is a great option. It is my favorite thing. I know Dan will be happy too. And again, I just want to dice this in bite-sized pieces. And it's all I can do not to eat the little bite-sized pieces in front of you. It's really good. Okay. And again, just want to, if there's any like big obvious pieces of fat, I personally will remove those. I don't like that in my soup. But that, you know, you do you. If it doesn't bother you or you like it, that's totally cool. Ooh, this looks good. So you could do this with, even like, there's times, you know, like if you save the soup bones, or the bones in your roast and stuff, you can put them in a bag in the freezer. And then when you have several, make stock. I actually have a recipe on the blog, and I'll attach that below, for beef stock. And it's amazing. I didn't take the time with this because I didn't have any red wine on hand and all the things that go with that to make that super fancy homemade beef soup. But, you know, if I did, it'd totally be worth it. Okay. So our onion and carrots and celery are coming along really nicely. Let me wipe my hands off real quick. So I want to make sure I can show that to you. There we go. And see how that's coming along. And you see how there's some color on the bottom. You want that color when you're sauteing because it actually is going to be flavor and the end result with the soup. So I'm going to allow that to sear just a few minutes longer. And let's see here. Oh, come on. And I just recently got a new cooktop because I left my old one in Fresno when we moved, and I haven't quite got used to it yet. So, all right. Garlic. Garlic's a big deal in soup. Adds so much flavor, and especially in like a beef stew. That's a yummy thing. So we want to make sure we add some garlic to our dish. That right there. And where are some of those skins? Let me see here. Y'all remember I showed you this the other day? I don't know if you've seen it. I've decided it's the best thing I've bought in a while. I'm not a gadget person, but it sure makes mincing garlic super easy. So check that out. So we have the garlic clove, and you just kind of rock and roll it back and forth, and it just so nicely minces garlic. Stop for a minute, give this a quick stir. Wonderful. And grab the rest of these guys here real quick. Okay. That first kind of rock and roll on there, you almost have to kind of catch it well because it kind of slips. But other than that, I'm like big fan of this. And then if you pull it off, lightly pull it off, and then just rock over the garlic, it minces it perfectly. So, and you don't have any skins. Is that cool or what? I'm a big fan of this. Okay, so I'm gonna pull the garlic. I'm gonna set that in our pot. And garlic doesn't take long at all. Like 30 seconds before you start smelling how wonderful it is. Okay, so, I mean, this is real time here. We're not speeding anything up. But now you can see that brown stuff right there? That's exactly what we want. Especially for something that's going to be quickly cooked like this and has so few ingredients. You've heard the phrase, or maybe you've heard me say the phrase, brown food tastes good. And that's what we're talking about here, is that brown bits on the bottom. And we want to scrape that up. And to our soup, we're going to add the stock that I cooked earlier today. So let me grab that. I'm going to pour this in. See how beautiful that looks? Ah. That is exactly what we're looking for. And with this, I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to run it across the bottom of the soup pot. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to scrape all those little brown bits off the bottom of the pot, because that's the flavor we're looking for. Perfect. To this, I'm going to add my roast beef. And let that cook. And the last thing before we add the peas, we're going to add our noodles. Our egg noodles are going to take, it says 9 to 11 minutes. So hang on, let me get this open. Sorry, I was hoping that wouldn't be too loud for you. And I'm going to add not too many, about a handful of egg noodles into our pot. I'm going to set a timer for 9 minutes, and then I'll be back. I'm going to clean up my stuff here. We're going to wait for these noodles to be done. I'll occasionally stir them. So again, just about a handful, a big handful. Because we want it to be beef and noodles, not noodles and beef. So I'll be back in a minute. Oh gosh, I forgot one thing. I had these bones set aside. I'm gonna actually cut up the meat on those bones because there's nothing wrong with it. It's delicious. And I'm gonna add it to my soup too. So I just wanted to pop in and say that really quick. Okay, my friends, I'm back. Pasta's done. Just tasted it. See, I don't have to see you there, but just tasted it, and it's soft and chewy. It's not overcooked though, and we definitely don't want to overcook this. So last thing we have to do is put in our frozen peas. You can add about a cup. Let's see. I'm just going to eyeball it. You probably have a little bit less than a cup there, and we don't want to add them any sooner because they'll get mushy and pale green and they just don't look as appetizing. So I'm actually going to turn this off. And I think dinner's ready. I'm going to go ring the bell. I need one of those. I need a bell right here so I can ring the bell when dinner's ready. Guys, this looks really good. Let me see if I can get it a little closer for you. Hang on. There is nothing like a pot of soup. It is my favorite food. What can I say? Can you see that? Look how good that looks. You know what? Better yet, let me grab that camera and come around. I'll be right back. So this will give you a much better view. Doesn't that look amazing? So all I need now is fresh baked bread. Well, I don't have any, so this is just gonna have to do. Let's dish some up and see how it tastes. Okay, it's time to see how we did. Now, I tested the seasoning a couple of times in those short few minutes, and I thought it seemed pretty good. But normally you would go in and just check to see if it tastes kind of bland, it needs salt. If you want it to have a little more bite, red pepper flakes, black pepper is what you're looking for. Oftentimes when you finish cooking a soup, adding something bright and fresh makes all the difference in the world. And that's why peas are such a wonderful accompaniment to beef noodle soup. So anyway, I thought that the flavors were just about right. So let's give it a taste. This is exactly what we need. The rainstorm's happening, ice storm's happening. We could sit at home, enjoy a great bowl of soup. Fingers crossed the power doesn't go out tonight because it looks to be quite a storm. But at least dinner time's covered. We'll see you next time, okay? We'll see you next week. I'm really excited because next week I have a great viral recipe to show you. That's all I'm going to tell you for now, so you have to make sure you tune in. But don't forget, make sure you check out the blog, bowlmeover.com. Tons of easy recipes. I'll put the recipe for this below. Great videos on the YouTube channel, of course Pinterest, Instagram. I have a little TikTok out there too. So I would love to connect. So make sure you like and follow. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.